Peace, 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 family. This is Aurora Divine. I go by Divine Intuition here on YouTube. And I wanted to just come in today and piggyback and carry on from the first video I did, which is called Black Hole IntroSPECtion. And I know that I was just getting familiar with working with StreamYard. And so I noticed after I uploaded the video, there were some things that, on my side, I wasn't aware of. However, today I'm coming back just so that I can piggyback off of some of the things that I did mention. And then it'll allow me to go ahead and get into more detail of some of the things that I did piece together. And there are a couple of different things that I do want to bring up. So let's just jump right in it, right? So let's go back to what I was looking at. And I wanted to show you more or less what I was speaking about last time. So let's do that. Let's just jump into it real quick. So all right, so let me just double check. All right, perfect. So one of the things that I was talking about was when I was focusing in on, going to the eye doctor and whatnot, how this to me right here reminded me of when we would get like retina exams. And in order to do the retina exam, they always ask you if you want to go ahead and do it. Oh, and boom, look at that. It's so amazing how, I had to kind of do a part 2 to kind of bring back some of the things that I was talking about. But this was what I was referencing to in my first video that no one got to see. But yeah, I thought that this was pretty interesting that they put it as an eye. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of just validates, or for me, it's a form of confirmation, right? When you see symbolism like this. But anyways, so you know how like in when you go to get an eye exam, they ask you for an additional whatever, would you like to do a retina exam? And they provide the eye drops, which dilates the eye, right? And this is why your eyes get blurry. And when they do the retina exam, and they actually, show you, well, some doctors will, some doctors won't show you, but it kind of looks like this in a way. And this is actually Sagittarius A, which is considered our black hole of this Milky Way galaxy. This was the picture that I was referencing to the last video, but I couldn't find it. And so I found it and I made sure that I was able to go ahead and focus in on this. And so, it shows that it's an eye. You know what I'm saying? But as I was saying, right? And so a good point to make was that this would be an eye of a being. The way that I saw it in my mind, and if everyone is just tuning in for the first time, I'll briefly go ahead and I'll just explain real quick. I ended up having a subconscious regression, and after I did the subconscious regression, I stood in that space, meaning like I tried to stay within my own subconscious and just visualize if there was anything else that I was able to see and kind of make out on my own. And realistically, like, we have this capability. We have this ability. I don't think a lot of us know that that's exactly what we're doing. And so you kind of have to put yourself in like something like a meditative state. However, it's more just focusing on what it is that you see within yourself. And I ended up seeing an eye, a very huge eye, but I didn't realize that it was an eye at first. What I actually saw was like, well, I was trying to make out what it was, and then I saw that it was an eye. And the only reason why I saw that it was an eye was because there was a planet that like moved right past it, and the eye was focusing on that planet moving. Okay. Now, this is going to bring me into the other realization that I had. I'm not really trying to make this long. So, I hope that for anyone who did want to join in, this is why I kind of made it a live, so that anyone and everyone is welcome. However, I am going to carry on. So, moving forward, there was a concept that came to my mind just recently, and it was about observing, right? And so something came to the forefront of my mind, which is my spirit pushing things to the front, which is telling me like, hey, like, this is relevant, right? And I think I've explained before how my intuition works, and this is how I like know what I guess my higher self is communicating to me. So there's something called the double slit experiment, in which they observe atoms and how they, I guess, move. And not observing the atoms, there is no particular pattern. The atoms actually don't just go through the slits, they actually align within this, I guess, like a back filter, or whatever. They're just everywhere. There's no placement, right? It's just, there's no pattern. However, once observed, there's a pattern that creates, and they've done this multiple times. Now, I do want to go ahead and show that for a minute, because it's going to bring me to my next realization. Actually, let me pause that. So before we go into the double slit experiment, I did want to recap this here. Let me see something. Yeah, so this is something similar to right here, and right here is what we see. And this is technically what we would consider Sagittarius. They're saying that it's Sagittarius A. Okay. And so this is now let's just look at it. It's literally what we would consider an eye. Literally an eye. However, if that's not enough for everyone, let me stop sharing this one so that I can show you the other one that I picked up and that I saw, which I thought was pretty amazing. And we're going to go to capturing light. So this is Sagittarius A. Okay. And this is just a picture of an eye. And this was the picture that I posted as far as my my first video, because I wanted to show the significance of how they really look. And it's to the T, family. So this is the article that I was referencing back to in my first video, but that it really couldn't be seen. So this is why I was making a part 2, so that we can go ahead and we can get into it. So the title is Capturing Light, How the Human Eye and Black Holes Are Alike. All right, so the human eye and black holes are two vastly contrasting objects that surprisingly share a common trait: their ability to absorb light. The human eye is a marvel of nature, capturing and decoding light to give us a window into the world around us, while black holes are enigmatic regions of space where not even light can escape. Despite their differences, both the human eye and black holes play important roles in our understanding of the universe and the behavior of light. So I did go through some of this on the last one, but like I said, I live and I learn, so the last video just kind of prepared me to do a part 2 on, do a part 2 for this video. Here, let me do something real quick. Let's change this. There we go. All right, so we're here. So I guess I can't double click on this, you guys. So I'll just read. The human eye captures light through a sophisticated system. The clear front of the eye, the cornea, helps focus the incoming light, which then passes through the pupil, an adjustable opening in the center of the iris that regulates the amount of light entering the eye. Excuse me. The lens further refines the focus, directing the light into the retina, a layer of light-sensitive cells located at the back of the eye. The retina contains rods and cones, which detect light and dark, color, and refine detail respectively. When light reaches the retina, it triggers a chain reaction that generates nerve signals, which are sent to the brain and interpreted as images. I did also look at what rods and cones are. Before I move on from this, I just want to finish up real quick. Similarly, black holes also absorb light to create their defining characteristic, the event horizon. The event horizon is the point of no return for light, beyond which it is irreparably trapped by the black hole's immense gravity. The size of the event horizon can change, growing or shrinking based on the amount of matter that has fallen into the black hole. So as I was saying before, family, okay? And we're going to get into why I'm kind of just referencing back a little bit again. It's because our pupil and the black hole both grow and retract. And it comes to a point where, why they say that everything that we focus on becomes reality. It's for that same reason, right? And so there is something about the observation of atoms, which gives a definition. or materializes or becomes matter. And so I'm not surprised how it does say that based on the amount of matter that has fallen into the black hole, right? So it says this material, which is pulled into the black hole, forms an accretion disk where intense friction and heat cause it to emit intense light. The human eye and black holes are both guardians of light in their unique ways. While the human eye allows us to see and experience the world, black holes offer a glimpse into the mysteries of the universe. Now, for anyone who understands what the universe is, it is us, right? This is why we are considered stars in our own sense, or are considered suns, like we are a sun. We have chakras, which would be consistent to planets. And so we're literally just learning about us all over again. Let me just reiterate that again. Nevertheless, both the human eye and black holes offer important insights into the nature of light and the workings of the cosmos. All right. It is also worth noting that the study of black holes has helped us expand our understanding of the behavior of light and the laws of physics. For instance, the observation of for the existence of gravitational lensing, where light is bent by the immense gravitational pull or a black hole. All right, well, let me just finish this and I'm going to show you what I realize about this. And for the theory of general relativity, which describes the relationship between matter, energy, and space-time. Through their unique roles in capturing and absorbing light, the human eye and black holes continue to broaden our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Now, I'm going to come back to this, and I just wanted to show you guys, right? All right, I'm going to make sure you guys stay with me real quick, because it was just talking about how light is bent by the immense gravitational pull of a black hole. Now, let me show you guys something. This is, everyone can do the same research. I'm going to just pull it up on a different screen real quick. Bear with me. I gotta go through images real quick. There was one image that I saw. And it showed how the light is literally bent, but it's kind of like refracted upside down. And so I'm not sure who is aware or who is not aware, but we visually see things upside down, right? And so I want to go ahead and show that real quick. And I guess you can say it's a refraction. Let me see. Let me... There it is. Light entering the eye. That's what I wanted to show. All right, I got it. Here, let's go. Pleasant. Hey, shout out to Alexander, the Gantric Shaman. Blessings to you. Many blessings. Let me go back. Let's see. I'm on my A game today, y'all. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you. All right, so we were talking about how, and in my last video, a lot of the content wasn't seen because I wasn't sharing the right screens. However, I'm on my A game today. So what I was saying was how in the... All right, so in the last video, I was talking about how a black hole literally will split atoms, right? Like basically you become atoms all over again. So it splits it. And so it was talking about refracting, right? Or bending light. Would you say that this right here, when light becomes right to this point, is it not kind of bent and maybe flipped? Because there is something that happens in this portion right here, right? And so that's what I'm trying to get at. So there's a lot to actually see when it comes to why I saw that. And here's another version. So you know how they'll kind of say like, oh, this is what is considered like Lucifer, right? Because of the what is it, like the vision, or it's light, right? But it's the same aspect of what we're speaking about. And so right here is what I'm saying. This is the point of where it does get bent, because if light is coming through, if you've ever did the same type of how can I say this? If you have taken or let me find it. Sometimes I don't have the right words, but I do know what I'm speaking on. I think it's what's the one with the rainbow? Oh my God. Rainbow light icon music. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. I think it's Led. Is it Led Zeppelin? Okay, let me see if it is. No, it's not. Okay, well, whatever. I don't remember this. Help me out, Alexander. Do you know what I'm speaking about? It's like the triangle and the rainbow. What artist is that? But anyways, it's basically showing a frac like like the light is being bent, you know. Um, so let me go back because now that we're done with that, we're gonna go back to here so we can finish this off real quick. Yes, the prism. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes, yeah, I got so many things going on. So, yeah. Okay, let me go back real quick. All right, so like I was saying, it says, that the light is bent. We just kind of saw and where the pupil, in the inside of the eye, where the light actually gets bent. It doesn't go straight, it actually gets bent. And I already read that, so let's keep going. Oh, that was it. Okay. So now I want to go to what I was speaking about, which is I'm going to have to look this up. So hold on, sorry. There we go. All right. Now, this is what I've realized. Double slit experiment. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look. I guess maybe I can go back on YouTube. But I don't want to get any strikes or anything, so we'll make it real quick. All right. Oh, and I have to wait for it because it's page. So here, let me pause my music real quick.
The double slit.
Hold on, y'all. We're gonna try and do this fast.
The double slit experiment defies our understanding. It involves a laser shooting beams of light particles called photons at a screen with two parallel slits. If we mark all the spots where the photons hit the second wall, we should expect to see two strips to correspond with the two slits. But that's not what we see. Instead, we see an alternating pattern of light and dark bands. This is characteristic of the behavior of waves that pass through both slits simultaneously, interfering with each other to create the pattern on the second screen. The bright lines are where the top of waves meet, resulting in a more intense or brighter area on the screen. The darker bands are where the top of one wave meets the bottom of another, so they cancel each other out, resulting in a less intense or darker area on the screen. Here is a photo of a real interference pattern. The original double was conducted in 1801 by British polymath Thomas Young. Since then, it's been performed with various types of particles, including electrons, and they were found to behave in the same way. This phenomenon occurs even if the photons are fired one at a time, which suggests that the photon is interfering with itself. as it passes through both slits at once.
Hmm.
Physicists were so stumped that they decided to observe which slit the particle went through. And
Okay,
that's when things
that's all I want to show. So the reason that's all I want to show is because I know that if I go too much into it, it will go ahead and give me like some copyright or whatever, and I don't want that on my thing. But this is what I realized. Pink Floyd, you're the man. Pink Floyd. That's what I was talking about. Yes. I couldn't remember that. Um but thank you. Thank you. So we'll get right into that as well. Um, okay, so the reason why I showed the double slit experiment, right, is because there's a pattern when being observed. Now, when not being observed, it doesn't create a pattern. The photons actually just strike everywhere in the back of the screen or whatever it is that's counting the photons, right? Now, I realized that the reason why planets move and they want to say that it's because it gravitates around the sun, that it orbits around the sun. That's not what I saw in my own, in my own self. What I saw was that the focus was the black hole, and that black hole is observing the planets move. So let's say this: if the black hole is in the center of every galaxy, right, or universe, which I'll have to double check. But let's just speak about ours in particular. The black hole is at the center, meaning that we don't necessarily orbit around the sun. What we do is we orbit around a black hole. They've said it to us. We just haven't put the pieces together because, we have all of this misinformation that we orbit around a sun, but we don't. We orbit around a black hole, and the black hole is the one that is observing, which means that the reason why planets are actually orbiting is because it is being observed by something. That is the reason why there is an orbit. There is a reason why everything orbits the way it does. That is what I saw in my own like self, meaning like in my own subconscious. That is what was the truth. That is what I see, you know? And this is why I had to make a part two, because even in my first video, I didn't come to that conclusion. Like, I said it a few times, but naturally it takes sometimes for us to put the pieces together. And then I started realizing, oh my gosh, this is another reason why they say, or there was another video um, that suggests if there is a tree and in a forest and a tree falls and no one's around, will it make a noise? And to that question, like it's very similar to saying like, if it's being observed, will it make a noise? I personally believe if it's being observed, then yes, right? But it's the same concept as like, if it's not being observed, will it make a noise? So I started realizing like, wow, we're actually not gravitating around a black hole, around a sun. That's what we're led to believe. Like, until a certain age, I didn't even know that every every universe or every galaxy actually has, or in the middle of it is a black hole. And so whether this black hole is below And I personally believe that it most definitely seems like it's below, because that's the only way for it to be observing all of the planets and having them orbit. Now, there was another video that was really interesting, and it was circulating on Instagram. And it was that the planets are not orbiting in the fashion of how we think they are this way. They're actually orbiting cylindrically, like cycle. Um yeah, like a spiral, I'm sorry, like a spiral. And that's another thing that I was realizing. I was like, wow, that holds more truth than the truth that we've been taught, right? Which is that, oh, it all goes around, it all go around. But in grammar school, I was never taught that there was even a black hole. For every galaxy, there's a black hole. Never taught that. They only said the sun, the planets, and they all go around the sun. Whatever. That doesn't even seem right to me. And now that I'm realizing, like, we hold many truths, and we're the only ones who have these truths within us. And so how are we to ever really know what is truth unless we're really looking inside? And I'm only speaking on a perspective based off of what I have literally seen within myself. And we hold many truths. We hold this within our which would be called the fabric of time and space. We are literally the fabric of time and space. So can't nobody tell us like what is and isn't true, you know? And that is just some of the realizations that I had since the last video that I made. But yeah, I wanted to come on here. Let me pull up that real quick, because, you know, family in the chat helped me out with that. So let's do Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Oh, perfect example, y'all. Thank you, Alex. You are a lifesaver. Perfect example. Let me share this with you. All right. Same concept, right? Light goes out, or let's say like this. I just want the picture. Okay. Light goes in, it's bent, and then it's the same concept. It's the same concept as a black hole. Literally. Because the light is then changed. And it could possibly even flipped, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really show that here, but it does show that in our eyeball there is a certain portion where it is bent. And this is showing the same concept. So thank you, Alex, because that was like a perfect, you came in right on time. You came in right on time, brother. I appreciate you. But yeah, so I wanted to show that. And there's so many references, like when we actually look at things, there's actually so many references to this esoteric truth that has been hidden from us. And that's what, esoteric is. It's, the hidden truths, just like the fact that or I won't say they, like the school system never taught us about, well, I'm an 80s baby, so that means I was in school in the 90s. And in the 90s, I was not taught no black hole anything, you know? Um, and I believe even, it's crazy. Like I knew that there was something going on with or that everything was within the stars, or like there were truths, many truths that you had to kind of like learn that were not going to be taught in schools. And when I was really young, I ended up getting like this huge book. And this book was only based off of like the stars and planets. And I learned about red giants and white dwarfs and all different types of stars at a very young age, not realizing why I had such an affinity to it. And this book was like this thick. And I begged my mom. I'm like, I swear, I'm not even playing. I'm like 7 or 8. And I just had a hyper focus on this book and I had to have it. Like, I did not want to let it go. I had to have it. This book was like $30. I don't remember the book, the name, and I don't know. That was a long time ago. But I remember that I had an affinity to learning the stars, um, learning constellations, learning planets. Maybe not so much planets, but more of the stars, the different masses of stars. Didn't even know that stars come in different colors. Like you have brown dwarfs, you know. Peace. Welcome in, Mind's Eye. What's up, family? Thank you for joining in. We got Alexander, the Ganja Shaman. We got Mind's Eye in the building. Thank y'all. Peace, peace, peace. But yeah, I was speaking about this book and how I had an affinity to just understanding like space. And another thing, how let me go back into that previous. Let me go back real quick. We touched on the double slit experiment. Let's go back to this real quick because it talks about rods and cones. And here. So let's put on some tunes real quick. Let's keep the vibe going. All right, so let me share my screen real quick because there was something else I wanted to bring up. Much respect, thank you. Much love. All right, so real quick, let's get into this. There's something else that I wanted to just touch base on. Okay. So where was it? It was talking about rods and cones, and that's what I was also looking up. So we already touched base on where light is bent, right? By the intense gravitational pull. Like, y'all, it's been in our faces the whole time. It literally has. But let me see. I think that's toward the end of it. So I think what I'm looking for is maybe more toward the beginning, right here. The retina contains rods and cones. Now let me show you what I was. So remember how I was saying, okay, rods would be light, and then cones would be dark, or cones would be dark. When I actually looked up cones, rods hold light, and the cones are for like movement, which is interesting, right? So you ever, and this is crazy because I'm gonna tap into how how, and this is just coming to me now, but you know how in space sometimes they say that they can't really see black holes um, because they have like this invisibility type of thing. And here, let me just move that down a little. But like, it almost looks very invisible, right? Like if you didn't see it bending around, um, then it would look invisible. And wall comb them. Hey sis. All right, family. I got So Ama, the goddess in the building. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in, sis. Um, I also just put like a little something together right now. So, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that the black holes have like they bend the light, um, the cones in our eyes, and I'm gonna go to that right now. So let me get there. So rods and cones in the eye. Rods and cones. Let's do that. Rods and cones diagram. All right. So apparently these are all rods and the cones are the ones that are colored, right? But so the cones are supposedly what focuses in on movement. Now, I don't know about y'all, but have y'all? Yes, they bend. You right. You right, Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye, you be on it too. And look, I just realized that you actually have the same thing that I was talking about. Before y'all came in, Alexander helped me out because I was referencing the Pink Floyd symbol about it bending the light through the prism, right? But thank you, Marta. You came in right on time as well. So what I was gonna get at was the rods, right? I'm sorry, the cones. So have y'all ever experienced this? And I've experienced this where you see something kind of like pass by, but it's kind of invisible, like the invisible spectrum, or what we would call like I don't know what you would say, like I don't want to say it's like the fourth dimension because you know we all know that the fourth dimension is the astral dimension, but apparently like the astral dimension and the third dimension are like right there and or like right here, right? And so when we like this is why they say in like the month of Halloween that the veil is the thinnest because the veil is kind of like what is the split. But then have y'all ever experienced like seeing things that kind of pass by? That would be what the cones are, right? But it's invisible. And is that not considered very similar to, let's just go back because I ain't got to do all that real quick. Hold on. To this outer dimension or the outer layer, right? So I feel like a lot of these things we kind of just can see for ourselves. Appreciate y'all. We can actually see for ourselves. And that's when I started realizing, like, man, there's no way nobody could tell me that this ain't no eye, but this is a cosmic eye. And so I would like to kind of just go back and restate something that I had said previously. What I was saying was that me personally, I definitely believe that, you know, the black hole is observing below, right? So, like, there's a fallacy that the planets orbit around the sun, because that's not true. If the black hole is at the center of every galaxy, right, and we live in the Milky Way galaxy, so then the Milky Way galaxy is not centered around the sun, it's centered around a black hole. And so this was me saying that like the center of the black hole actually has to sit below the galaxy. And then I personally believe that the eye, or the black hole, is what's observing the rotation of this galaxy. And what I was saying previously, because I have a bigger audience now, I'm just going to reiterate it again. The pupil is what materializes things. It brings things into focus, right? So like when we focus on something, we're actually materializing atoms together, meaning that this is why they say whatever we focus on manifests, right? Whatever we can envision or we can see, we can manifest. And I know everyone's kind of heard like, well, everything that we see is an illusion because we're all keeping up the matrix, meaning like we are the ones who keep this matrix going based off of like how we see it. So like if we see that the wall is white, we continue to see that the wall is white. It's the same concept, right? And so I wanted to just share again that it's the eye that brings things into materialization, but it's crazy, right? Because it's almost like I want to say it's the eye, but it almost feels like it's the first eye. Like the first eye. And so what if we're kind of just seeing like what the first eye looks like before it got crystallized? Literally, because we definitely know that, there's like crystals within our pineal gland. And there's just so much, like I can just keep going, but there's just so much that I keep layers upon layers, like, and then the layers are like pieces and I'm just piecing all these things together. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting that, Spirit kind of showed me and they are in our blood too, very much so, sis. I definitely agree. And this is why I was kind of like referencing this aspect of the invisible, and I really want to see, like, let's take a look together. We don't look together and see if they actually show us what a real galaxy will look like. Like we already know that's our galaxy, Sagittarius A. This is the picture that I originally showed you guys, showed the family. But again, so, and another thing, y'all, I haven't even gotten into this. Oh, y'all, what does this look like? It looks like a black hole, right? But there's other things on Earth that is being referenced as eyes. And let's talk about it real quick. We have tornadoes that have eyes. We have hurricanes that have eyes. And this reminds me of what like an above view of what a hurricane would look like. Literally, this looks like a hurricane, but it's technically a black hole. So I was looking up something, and it was like how atoms move, and I have it on my phone. I'm gonna try and see if I can show y'all real quick, because this was another thing So I had did the same meditation that I did previously, and I had like went inside and I saw black holes, but then I saw something else, and I saw what looked like a whirlpool or a tornado. Oh yes, very much so. Very much so, sis. Yes. So Amma says seeing is hearing the black hole is like this too, like a speaker and a boombox. Very much so. Um but that's my point exactly, right? It's a funnel. So it funnels, but it's in constant motion. And then I started thinking about it like, man, why am I seeing like a funnel? Like, and it was like a whirlpool. Like I think that that's what I was seeing in my mind, but then I started realizing, oh snap, I think spirit's showing me in a sense of where there's eyes, there's different forms of eyes, but all of these eyes have something to do with this black hole. Like that's what I personally feel like. I haven't put those pieces together as to why. Like, yeah, they're gonna say, oh, it's the low pressure, the winds, and it's complicated. That's what I keep seeing, like doing my research. Oh, it's complicated. But wait until I get some more research under my belt and I start putting these pieces together, because then I can go ahead and really present that. But there are different forms of eyes, and that was the last thing that I saw. So I did see a black hole again. I briefly saw the black hole spinning, and then it went from the black hole this way to like elongating it, and then it looked like a whirlpool. And I was like, yo, wow. And maybe that's the aspect that we don't see, right? But then we have it here in the life, that we see it in the life, like what that would really look like. um but yeah, so that was just some of the stuff that I wanted to share. I really thank y'all. Hey, I got the true daughter of darkness. Beautiful. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining in. Yeah, I had to go live. I had promised that I was going to go live. I didn't want to forget about this topic and all of the, other pieces that I was like putting together. But there was one more thing that I wanted to share, and this is what I wanted to show y'all, was a picture. Let me get to the picture real quick. Hold on. Because it was just recent and it got me thinking like, yo. So this is, okay. Hopefully y'all can see this. Do y'all see this? I don't know if you guys can see, but there are some dots that are moving. Those are like where the atoms are, or where those atoms would be. But if I were to stop it, oh, I can't stop it because it's a video, but it actually gives us a shape. And this is the shape that it shows. And this is how I know, like, this goes way deeper than I've realized. What the heck did I do? Hold on. I gotta get out of this. I don't know what I did. Oh, too much, too much, too much, too much. It's this zoom angle. Okay, that's better. All right, let me show y'all what I'm talking about, because this was just for what an atom, like I'm sorry, what a atom looks like, or and I was showing like I was looking at basically what the spin of that would look like. And yes, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say, Mind's Eye. So there's, and then it actually goes in deeper because the way that the sun sets, it's not like this. It's like this. Okay. So let me show y'all real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up. I just don't remember where I got that from. Bear with me, y'all. Let me see if I can get the let me see. How do I? And that's crazy because I just saved this yesterday. Oh man, I'm trying to see how I got that. I think it was so here. So let's do tornado. See, you can see I was like, oh, tornado eye wall, y'all. This is what I was looking at. Sometimes I like Google. Here, I'm going to show y'all what I'm looking at. And then I'm going to show you what I found, which starts to take me into the different eyes, right? But I'm looking. It's something specific that I'm looking for, and it's none of this stuff. Bear with me, wonderful family. All right. Whew. That already looks like a black hole, no lie. Like this literally, if I could go back, this literally looks like the previous picture. And then this could be the invisible, where it's actually pulling in the light based off of the gravitational pull. But, this is still not the diagram that I'm looking at. Look at that. So, I mean, I honestly feel like, I don't know. I'm still putting pieces together, but I wanted to show y'all. Okay. So it's something like this, right? But it's not that per se. Maybe I think I was looking at hurricane. Let me see if the hurricane one comes in. I think I was looking at, let me see, what else? And I'll double check if it's hurricane versus tornado. But there was something very similar to what I was looking at as far as so the thing on my phone, that little diagram on my phone, I found it on Google and I just don't remember like where. So anyways, there is usually something that they show. Okay. That's not it. That's not it, but we're getting close because I do recall some of this stuff too. All right. I might have to just come back to it. Maybe I can possibly even do a part 3 if I gather and just keep the links open, But what I will say is this is another thing that came up, and it is the sun rise and sunset. What is it? Sunset. Is it the elliptical? Let me see. It's elliptical. So I hope they show me this. Okay. This is something very similar to what I was talking about, right? But this is not exactly it. So I'm trying to find it, but it's not what I'm looking for either. So they would have us believe that this is how it looks, but this is not really how it looks, y'all. This is not how it looks at all. So, and this is actually embedded in what tornadoes and hurricanes look like. So the model that I was showing you, this is actually embedded in that, and this has definitely has something to do with the sun. So let me see. Let's see, sun and moon elliptical. I just I know what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, as of now, I can't even find it. But what I will say, right? Because I'm looking, but none of this stuff is what I'm looking for. This, okay, hold on. Now we getting close to somewhere, right? This is the moon. However, the sun takes the same direction in a sense, where it'll go up and then down and then up again, right? So it's like an S. It's like an S. Now, that's embedded in the it, and it does. It does. So the thing is that they always want us to believe that the sun goes like this, like, oh, it goes from what rises in the east, sets in the west. But y'all, there's a whole down part that it has to come back up from. So it does not go like this and then comes like this and then goes like this. No, we just don't see that it's in its resting state, right? But it has to go down to come right back up. And basically what I was saying was that's actually embedded in the diagram that I was showing you. And that diagram is literally what is considered like the rotation of a tornado slash hurricane. Because yes, they're different, but it's really the aspect of the rotation, you know. Mind's eye. You said it's a lot of what you're on to because everything is tied to exactly what you're talking about. The black hole is portable, you know, like how the black hole is thrown in the film from, yes. Yo, we ain't even get on that. We ain't even get on the black hole. Now that you mentioned that, okay, y'all open up a can of worms and I like it. So So yes, goddess Ama. Yes, it does make like an infinity sign essentially. Um but that's why I said like a lot of the stuff that they put out there, or like what we've been taught, is actually not true. Um now we speaking on the portable black holes. So while I was looking up the eye, something came up. Let's go to it. It's called vortices, like vortexes. Okay. And I was interested. So let me see. Rods and cones. Oh, and I was actually, you can tell because I was actually looking up bipolar cells, but that's what I was looking up, bipolar cells. Enter. ¿Qué pasó? It don't want to enter. Enter don't want to enter. That's wild. Okay, so there was something that I was reading, and it was talking about bipolar cells, and I was like, this is interesting. Let me see, because it should still be in purple. Uh, if not, we can just probably go to the first one. Let's go to the first one real quick. No, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. I know what I'm looking for. But anyways, it was talking about how the bipolar cells actually have two functions. And it's to receive and to send out, right? And I was like, bipolar cells. I was like, damn, that's wild, because there are people that say or have been diagnosed with bipolar. And, when I was younger, they tried to tell me that I was bipolar. I was like, hell no. I'm just a very angry, emotional person. But that was, that was at a younger time. Um, but there was something that came up upon my research, and it was vortices. And when I started looking up vortices, I was like, yo, vortices remind me of vortexes. Why is that so? Um, yes, it's the S shape. It also circles away at an angle, so we can't detect besides being able using common sense. I've realized the grids, the sun and moon, are gridded on, so it's like the video you showed us on your, yeah, it is. It very much so is. But that kind of just makes me realize, like, I think, I mean, personally, like, I feel like the reason why, because we've already established that the S, or like basically what we would see what we would see is an S, but in reality, to me, it does personally make an infinity, right? It's just, I don't think we've caught up to that yet. So we have both of those, both the sun and the moon do the same thing, right? Just on opposite spectrums. So, and I also realized that some of the things that we deal with as far as hurricanes, and we deal with tornadoes, it's cool and hot, right? Cool and hot winds. And then with hurricanes, it's pressure. And I'm not really sure what's the other component as to why hurricanes form, but those all have to deal with sun and moon, you know? Like, if you really think about it, like, the coolness is always in relation to the moon, and heat is always in relation to the sun. And so these are literally rotating within our, you know, within our firmament, or whatever you want to describe it. Now I don't want to get on to a tangent, but I started realizing, like, man, there's just so much. But what can we do? Just keep digging, just keep researching, and just keep bringing this awareness. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I said everything that I wanted to say about the black hole so far. I do want to do a little more digging because, as you can see, y'all, this is bringing me more into like what I would consider wrong one, wrong one. What I would consider like more of a rabbit hole, you know. Um, but I did want to see if I could find. I know it wasn't that one. Let me just see. Let me see if it'll bring up the information that I was talking about. But I mean, a lot of this I feel has to deal with, and it starts with the black hole, you know. When I was, well, I believe when I was just barely really becoming more aware, and a lot of people would say like waking up, but when I was really starting to really become more aware of how and what everything was really like, what was going on, um subconsciously I kind of always felt that the sun was not like the main thing. I always felt like there was a black hole in which to me felt like was a source. And like, just as much as a sun is a source for people, a black hole is definitely a source for people, and it's just based off of like what you resonate with. And the reason why I'm going so hard on this source is because, just like the same thing as how, you know, the mother or the matron or the matriarch has kind of been in hiding, or they've been, oh, like has pretty much been erased. I feel like it's the same thing with black holes. And the reason why I feel like a lot of us find them so fascinating is because we don't actually know much about it. And it's very similar to like if you were to go into the Bible, you don't really know too much of like a mother goddess because it's not really discussed, right? And so I think that just bringing some awareness um, is the reason why I've been tapping so much into this black hole energy. Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye, you said, remember Jason Voorhees, Vortex. Remember he died as a child, yet he still grew. Inhale or in hell or in heel or in in Hilson, the earth where we vortex into. Very much so. Jason Voorhees, a Loch Ness monster or cooking monster. Mind's Eye, you be on some. I swear. I be listening to you and I'm like, yeah, Mind's Eye be on it. But all the fam, We all be on it, you know? We just have different perspectives and how we see it. But yeah, you're definitely right. The fact that I remember, like, just the fact that you had said that he's a Loch Ness monster, I remember. And it's like, and this is the reason why I have water in my background, right? Because water is what everything started off within. And that would bring me back to the womb. And it would bring me back to like celestial waters, which would be like space. And if we were to go ahead and get into what a quasar is, y'all, let's tap into a quasar very briefly, real quick, because I have this up, but it was like I was saying, like I have to keep certain things up as far as links that I want to speak on, because then finding it becomes really difficult later on if I don't keep the links up. But here, so rods are more sensitive to light, making them primarily responsible for the vision in low lighting conditions like at night, and cones are less sensitive to light. So interesting, because something else showed that the cones were for another website showed that the cones were too interesting. You know, okay, so here's another thing that I realized. There's always got to be a balance of opposites, right? Um, so naturally, I would think that the rod is during the day and the cone is during night. However, the balance of those energies would be the opposites. So, in order for things to balance, it always has to have like an opposite. You know, that's the way it balances. So, if y'all ever notice, this is like the universe balancing itself, literally. So, um, we were just reading on how the rods are more sensitive to light, but in nighttime, this is the rods, and it looks actually, it's crazy. In the eyes, it looks like you have more rods than cones. Yo, did y'all realize that? It's not going to show it here, but in the other ones that I saw, and this is the bad thing about StreamYard, is that I can only use one screen at a time. They need to up game this, because this would be more proficient if they did. But let me just see real quick. Huh. This reminds me of the eye of a bee. All right. So rods and cones are distributed across the retina in different densities. The cones are primarily found in the fovea, the region of the retina with the highest visual acuity. And is this why some people have what's the word where they don't see as sharply? Can y'all help me out? Yeah, it does look like two pillars. Oh my God. What's the word? See, I don't want to move off this real quick, but what is the technical eye term when people don't see as sharp as they can? It was like gaining so much popularity. I had a friend who had this problem, but it's like Okay, it'll come to me. But anyways, this was actually happening, and they were like a lot of commercials were talking about it. No, not cataracts, but you're onto something. Um the acute meanings like sharp, like how if you see something you can see it very sharp. Um oh my god. It'll come back to me. But anyways, let me keep reading. So we're kind of getting into the bipolar cells. I haven't even seen it yet, but we're kind of unlocking a few things here. So the remainder of the retina is predominantly rods. This is what I was saying. All right, now, interestingly enough, right? We have more rods, which, if we look back, which is crazy because now we're going to tap into something even more. We have more rods that are sensitive to light, making them primarily responsible for vision in low lighting conditions like at night. Y'all, you telling me that we have night vision? Literally. But we have not really tapped into night vision yet. And this is the aspect of how I'm seeing things. See, now this kind of just goes full circle based off of how all of this started coming about, because it's understanding the eye, right? But like I was saying, like I close my eyes and I visualize, and all I'm looking is in the dark, right? But like I have an eye mask so that there's no light that pierces through. So within this darkness, you can still see pictures because our eyes have more rods than cones, y'all. Like this is amazing. And this is how I got this information. This is why I'm on a tangent about this black hole, because my eye or eyes, right? All three of them literally had saw this huge cosmic eye following a planet. And that's the vision that I got. So this literally just confirmed exactly what I was speaking about. Now, I personally believe that the more that we start to learn more about ourselves, and this all started from the black hole, right? And the website that I was on initially in the beginning of this video, of this live, was showing that the eye and the black hole, we could learn a lot about like how we, I guess, like how we are, and the similarities between a black hole and our own eyes. And I'm starting to realize, it's very much exactly what it was saying. So the region of the optic disc, and that came up too, this right here, has no photoreceptors because the axons of the ganglion cells are leaving the retina and forming the optic nerve. Okay. So I'm going to assume that this is where the optic nerve is going to be, but this is just the front, or, the wall, I guess you can say. And then this would be kind of connecting to the back. So let's keep seeing. Photoreceptors hyperpolarize in response to light, do not fire action potentials, and release glutamate. There's so much here to unpack, y'all. Like, y'all have no idea. All right, this is another interesting thing. The photoreceptors are responsible for sensory transduction in the visual system, converting light into electrical signals in the neurons. For our purposes, to examine the function of the photoreceptors, we will A, focus on black and white light, not color vision, and B, assume the cells are moving from either an area of dark to an area of light, or vice versa. So they're just kind of showing us basically. And it's funny how it said that because this is exactly what we do. We turn on the light and then we turn it off to go to sleep. In my case, when I had this internal vision, I was the light was on and then I turned everything off. I put the eye mask over so that nothing could penetrate and it was completely black. And I'm going to assume that this is the receptor right here. But I have yet to see anything about this could be the bipolar cells, but yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, look, as I was speaking. Okay. So the bipolar cells work. So here, where are they? Let's get to it. All right here. Like photoreceptors, the bipolar cells do not fire action potentially and only respond with graded post-sympathetic, sympathetic, I'm sorry, pardon me, potentials. So where is it? So this is the bipolar cell right here. So it receives and transmits, but there was something about vortices that this is the whole reason why I came here, And like I said, if I don't find it, y'all, I'll just keep it up the next time because there's so much information. But it did take me to vortices. And then I said, oh my gosh, this is going to take me into vortexes. And the reason why some of us can see or create vortexes, I personally believe, would be in that same reference space. Right? That's what I said. Mind's eye. Yes. I mean, I would say so. Like, you know that the owl has like the best sight at night. And we have more, obviously, it just said we had more rods than cones. So, like, we really can see without light. Like, that just almost makes me believe that we're really not supposed to be utilizing light the way that we do. This is why, like, if you really think about it, the main form of light back in the days was candles. You know what I'm saying? Because candles was a natural form of light, but it only had a certain like lumen, or like brightness, right? And that's and it's still like a certain, like all of this LED, I don't really think that that's really good for our eyes, to be honest, because we just saw how we have more, we are creatures of the dark. That's like the best way to describe it. I think if we were to keep going and keep like looking at everything, we would definitely see that a lot of our being is associated to darkness, even our vision, you know? This is why I was saying like there are some of us who can see things in like an invisible realm. Or like if we see something like kind of like shoot past us in our peripheral, we see that because of the simple fact that, we have a spectrum. We can see through a spectrum, which is mainly associated in darkness, but that like I was showing the outside of the black hole. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Outside of the black hole, it almost looks invisible. And supposedly in space, there's traveling black holes, which also makes me kind of feel like the reason why it's traveling is because, it's in observation. So it's traveling, which is what I saw in my mind. Um, I think it's kind of funny that I'm talking about in my mind's eye, and mind's eye is right here. Oh, look, I just summoned him. um, but yeah, let me just read mind's eye what you're speaking on. So, reminds me of the Coneheads film there. Was one mom, one daughter, one dad. Yes. Yeah. The white and black do tie to channel in between the clear content we actually pay attention to. Very much so. Because if you think about that too, that is like our duality, right? And so I honestly feel like we, I honestly feel like this, like we close our eyes, but I honestly feel like our first eye, right? That's where we get the light from. Like these eyes are really to observe the dark, and the first eye is what's supposed to observe the light. And this is why, remember, in opposition, the like all of our eyes are sensitive to light if you really think about it. Have you ever heard that when it's not best to kind of like go from a dark space to a very bright space while you're meditating, because it shuts down your first eye very quickly. But then your first eye is made out of crystals. And so crystals literally like they harness, like how can I say, they can perpetuate light. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Um, yes. Yeah. Yes, sir. I just want to go back real quick. I think I missed some. So, too much light will burn us in all kinds of ways, very much so. The dark light allows us to live longer. Interesting fact that you said that. You ever So I'm not like okay, so interesting fact, mind's eye. I'll even bring this up because you touched on something. So there's somebody that I follow on Instagram, and it's all about food and how to make your food last longer, like veggies, fruits. And a lot of what he's actually speaking about is keeping it in a dry but dark place in order for the food and fruits and vegetables to last longer. Interesting. So you're absolutely right. I say the dark is light in a sense. If you don't know how to handle the sun, it'll get the best of you. Yeah, I mean, well, most definitely that a lot of things are inverted. So what we've been taught, and so it's the same thing, like the dark is the light, because I honestly feel like if we go back to here, if we go back to what the light does, it's 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 very much so an illusion, right? Because if we go ahead and we go back to what the eye looks like, it's like it inverts and flips the image in our mind. So we're actually, some of us would actually say like we're living upside down, like which way is up, you know? Um and then with that being said, there's always a reference to illusions, right? Because light is an illusion is what they say. And there's so much to the darkness that a lot of people don't want to go there. And I think it's because a lot of people like the illusion of things. And so, that just being said, the going in the dark is that light. The light necessarily isn't the light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. All right. So I think I'm going to conclude. I really appreciate all y'all. I could keep going, but it's going close to 2 hours, and I still have to do some studying. Um, and I would definitely want to do some research, maybe to just go ahead and piggyback off of this one. I thought this was a great live. I really appreciate the fam who came in, who joined, supported. I really love and appreciate y'all. Um, but yes, I will go ahead and call it a night. And thank you for tuning in again. This is Aura Divine, and I am signing out. Peace, y'all. Peace and love.